So Myles Garrett is a Los Angeles Ram. Wow. What is going on, everyone? I hope you guys are having a good day. This is going to be a different kind of video from what I usually make because there's not really a lot of content going around for the NFL right now. Obviously, we're in the dark days of the offseason, and a lot of crazy things went down yesterday, so I thought we would just take a moment to talk about them and break them all down. And also, the microphone that we will be using for today's video is a Draymond Green card, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, obviously the insane blockbuster Myles Garrett trade happened yesterday, but that's not the only thing that happened. As you guys know, A.J. Brown was also traded to the Patriots. Finally, Odell Beckham Jr. actually signed with the Giants, and Russell Wilson retired to become a sports analyst. So first, let's dive into the big juicy one. Myles Garrett has officially been traded to the Los Angeles Rams. I know, the best player in the entire NFL is on the move. It's kind of crazy. The best player in the whole NFL is going to the team that had the best odds to win the Super Bowl. I don't see how anyone could say the Rams aren't the best team in the entire NFL right now. If you just look at their roster, it's absolutely terrifying. Their defense is so scary, even though they lost Jared Verse. Okay, so the official trade package is the Cleveland Browns are going to be receiving Jared Verse, the Rams 2027 first round pick, the Rams 2028 second round pick, and the Rams 2029 third round pick, and the Rams are going to be receiving Myles Garrett. In terms of grades for this trade, I'm actually going to give the Browns a B+ here. I am a diehard Browns fan, as you guys can tell by my Browns jersey wall of shame back there. As you guys can see, we have an Odell Beckham Jr., Baker Mayfield, and Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett jersey. All of them have been traded or left the team. Obviously, it did not end well for any of those players in Cleveland, really. It seems like anytime I buy a Browns jersey, that player's just cooked. And I only have one left who's actually on the team, and it's Jerry Jeudy. And I don't know how much longer Jerry Jeudy will even be on the Browns, so we might have to add another to the Hall of Shame pretty soon here. But regardless, I do think that the Browns actually got a decent haul for Myles Garrett because we have to look at the circumstances behind this trade. Obviously, Myles Garrett's ambitions did not line up with the current plan for this Cleveland Browns team. Like, the Browns Super Bowl window will not be open in the next 5 years. That is unless they draft like some great franchise quarterback, which, given that they're the Cleveland Browns, they're probably not going to do that. I'll hold on to hope, but obviously we are far, far away from actually being able to contend for a Super Bowl yet. And Myles Garrett is going to be 31 years old next season. Even though he is definitely the best player in the entire NFL, his prime is probably going to only last about 2 to 3 more years, which is definitely a long time for a team like the Rams. But his ambitions just don't align with the Cleveland Browns' goals right now, so it made sense to trade him while his value was at his highest. I mean, he just broke the single-season sack record. Of course, his value is going to be super high. And of course, I would be lying to you if I said that I wasn't extremely sad and disappointed that Myles Garrett is no longer on the Browns, because this is the best player in the entire NFL. The Browns are my favorite team. They're the only thing I care about in this entire world. I am such a huge Browns fan, and it is absolutely devastating to not have Myles Garrett play for this team anymore. However, I just have to look at this from an optimistic standpoint here, as the return the Browns got is pretty solid. Obviously, those draft picks are nice, but I am absolutely stoked that the Browns were able to get Jared Verse, because Jared Verse is an absolute dog, and I'm tired of pretending like he's not. Just because he's in this Myles Garrett trade, I feel like he's getting very underrated, because, like, he's obviously not Myles Garrett, but, like, no one is Myles Garrett. Like, we can't just be saying, well, he's not as good as Myles Garrett, because, like, no one is as good as Myles Garrett. Like, Jared Verse is a top 10 edge rusher in the entire NFL. If you look at just sacks, obviously it's not jumping off the page. I think he has like 12 sacks in 2 years, which is very solid production. But this guy does thrive at getting to the quarterback. He's always up there in QB hits, pressures, pass rush win rate. Oh my goodness, can I speak? But yeah, so he is actually very good at getting to the quarterback, and he will be a great addition to this Cleveland Browns defense. He's also only 25 years old, which is something very important to note here because he is 6 years younger than Myles Garrett. Really think about how long 6 years is in the NFL. That is a lot of seasons. That's usually a guy's prime if you're a good player at the caliber of Jared versus Myles Garrett. So I think when this Browns team is definitely nearing the completion of their rebuild, Jared Verse will still be a staple of this team because he is now the best player on this defense. Obviously, they got Denzel Ward, Carson Schlesinger, Grant Delpit. It is still a very solid defense, but Jared Verse is an elite player, and he's now the best player on this Browns defense. So I definitely think they're going to look to build around him some more. And obviously, whatever team trades Myles Garrett, they will probably be the loser of the trade. But you can't look at it from a standpoint of, oh my goodness, the Browns got fleeced. This is the Luka trade of the NFL. Because this is not the Luka trade of the NFL, people. Like, what are we talking about? Luka was basically traded 1-for-1 for Anthony Davis. That's like if the Browns traded Myles Garrett 1-for-1 for Von Miller. Like, I know he's a free agent, but still, that's like the caliber of what the Luka trade in NFL terms would be. This is far from that. But at the end of the day, it still does really suck that Myles Garrett is no longer on the Browns. But if you're a Rams fan, that obviously does not suck, because now you have the best player in the entire NFL. The Rams defense now is just absolutely horrifying. It's so stacked. They got Byron Young and Myles Garrett on the same defensive line. They got Cameron Curl, Trent McDuffie in that secondary. I mean, no one is going to want to go against this defense, and we're still not mentioning the fact that the Rams have the best offense in the entire NFL probably, so they're going to be a huge problem this year for sure. Even though they did lose a lot in this trade, I still would have to give them an A just because they got Myles Garrett. Like, you have Myles Garrett on your team now. That's absolutely incredible. Like, how can you be considered a loser of a trade if you have Myles Garrett on your team? He's the best player in the world. But the reason that I'm not giving it an A+ is because the financial implications of this trade could mean, now I'm not saying this will happen, but I'm saying it could, Puka Nacua may not be on the Rams in 2027. With Matthew Stafford making $60 million, Myles Garrett making $40 million, and Trent McDuffie making $30 million, if Puka Nacua were to get a contract similar to what Jackson Smith and Jigba got, which is $42 million per season, then the Rams would be allocating 60% of their salary cap to 4 players, which we've never really seen been done before. Like, I think they will actually end up doing it, but we've never seen it done before, so I'm curious to see how it plays out. But if they're not willing to do that, that could very well mean that Puka Nacua will be on a different team next year. Obviously, the Rams are having to pay a lot of guys a lot of money now, and Puka will get a fat contract from whatever team wants him. I'm assuming that a team would honestly be willing to pay him $50 million with how the NFL is trending, and there are some teams that have a lot of money that will be willing to spend. So this is just a situation to keep in mind. I'm very curious to see how it plays out. I was wondering if maybe Puka would get traded before the season even started. That's probably really unrealistic, but just keep an open mind for it. All right, moving on here, let's talk about the other blockbuster trade that happened. It was kind of underwhelming because we all knew this was coming for so long now, but that, of course, is A.J. Brown being sent to the New England Patriots. The official trade details are as followed. The Eagles are trading away A.J. Brown to the Patriots in exchange for the Patriots' 2028 first-round pick and 2027 fifth-round pick. This is definitely a win-win for both sides. I'm going to give both teams an A here. The Patriots were able to keep their 2027 first-round pick and give away that 2028 pick, which I think is pretty good value for them. And although A.J. Brown is a great player, he was a huge drama queen in Philly, and the fact that they're still able to get a first-round pick out of him is pretty good value, in my opinion, for the Eagles. I mean, this was the worst-kept secret in the NFL. Like, we all knew this was happening. Adam Schefter basically confirmed it, like, a couple weeks ago, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it will be pretty exciting to see Drake May with his new weapons, Romeo Doubs and A.J. Brown now. Obviously, the Patriots have a way harder schedule this year, so it's not going to be smooth sailing like last year. But who knows? With these receivers, Drake May could truly take his game to another level. He was already one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL last year. I'm really excited to see what he does with his 2 new receivers. And honestly, I will be a heavy investor in A.J. Brown in fantasy this year. I think with Drake May throwing him the ball, that will be a match made in heaven for most fantasy teams. And the Eagles definitely didn't suffer from this trade, considering they drafted Mekhi Lemon, who, of course, there's going to be the overreactions at camp where he's dropping passes and his route running is bad, blah, 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 blah. It's training camp. I'll wait to see what he actually does in the NFL. But the biggest takeaway for Eagles fans, in my opinion, is do they think that Devontae Smith will step up to be that true receiver 1 now? Because now that A.J. Brown's gone, Smith is definitely the best receiver on this team. I mean, Mekhi Lemon's obviously still there, but they traded for Dontavian Wicks as well. But Devontae Smith is clearly receiver 1 on the depth chart now, so I'm curious to see what his role will be in 2026, and if he is actually going to take that elite step up and show why he won the Heisman and was it the 13th overall draft pick. But overall, this trade was definitely solid for both teams, and I'm excited to see how it plays out in the 2026 season. The next bit of news here we have is definitely a little bit more on the tamer side compared to the other big trades, and that is Odell Beckham Jr. signing with his old team, the New York Giants. The exact terms of his contract are unknown at the moment. All we know is that it is a 1-year deal to reunite him with the Giants, which makes me think that Malik Nabers might not be on track to start week 1 of this season. And if you look at the Giants depth chart, the receiver room is very full now. Obviously, they have Malik Nabers at wide receiver 1. They drafted Malachi Fields in the 3rd or 4th round, I believe. And I am very, very high on Malachi Fields out of Notre Dame. I think this guy's going to be an absolute beast. I think by the end of the year, he will be the Giants receiver too. But having OBJ on the team kind of mixes this up a bit. They also signed Darnell Mooney and Juju Smith-Schuster. Yeah, they also signed Juju today. I forgot to mention that. Juju Smith-Schuster is now on the Giants. So this receiving room is completely crowded. Calvin Austin is there too. So I really don't know how it's going to shape up. If I were to predict the order of the receivers from first to last on their depth chart right now, including Malik Nabers, it will be Malik Nabers number 1. I think Malachi Fields will eventually become receiver 2, but to start the season off, it will probably be Darnell Mooney. And then I think Darius Slayton will be receiver 3 or Malachi Fields. And then receiver 4, Calvin Austin. Receiver 5, OBJ. And then like receiver 6, Juju Smith-Schuster. There's too many receivers on this team. I can honestly see one of them getting cut. So this was a very odd signing for the Giants. I'm a big OBJ fan. He's actually the reason that I'm a Browns fan. It's kind of a fun fact about me. But at this point in his career, he is far from being an even good NFL wide receiver. So this move is just very confusing to me. But who knows, maybe OBJ will come back to being one of the best receivers in the entire NFL and prove all of us wrong. And the last bit of news we have today is sort of a fun one. We're going to leave it on a fun note. And that is that Russell Wilson is officially retired and is signing a deal to become a CBS Sports broadcaster. Obviously, we all love Russ. He has such a fun personality. There's so many memes that have come from this guy.
Let's ride. Broncos country. Let's ride. Broncos country. Let's ride.
And now that he is near the end of his playing career, actually at the end of his playing career, I don't know why I said near, he sucked last year, so this move makes a lot of sense for Russell Wilson because he was not going to get any playing time in 2026, let's be honest here. He actually did have an offer from the Jets to become Geno Smith's backup, but being a backup for the Jets, I don't even know if I would want to do that, so it makes complete sense that he chose to become a broadcaster over being the Jets backup here. But yeah, it will be fun to see what Russell Wilson has to say before football games on CBS. And that will do it for the video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this one. This was an absolutely insane day in the NFL. And if you guys want to see more content like this, please leave a like on the video and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I appreciate you guys for making it all the way to the end of the video. And as always, thank you for watching.